Hi guys, this is Aaron, and this is the second of our dev videos. What we're going to do is walk you through the evolution of the battle board. As many of you know, the project started out as a 2D project, and then we made the decision to switch to Unity 3D for a number of reasons, and it's probably one of the best development decisions I ever made. But our original vision had been 2D, so some of our early mock-ups of the battle board were strictly in an isometric two-dimensional look. And this is one of those very early tests. We didn't go all the way back to the beginning. We need to keep this video a reasonable length of time. But this is one of our, sort of mid-early tests. What you're looking at is we've just got a number of units. They've obviously got hit point bars above their heads so we can track them. The first thing we wanted to do was obviously implement pathfinding and collision avoidance, which is actually part of the pathfinding algorithm, so they can walk around each other. Even at this early stage, they've got movement points. If you look down in the bottom left there, you'll see some of their early stats, which we just stuck things in there. This is all filler, guys. Keep in mind, as always, this is a development video, but they can't walk. They've reached negative movement points, and these can't walk. These, however, can, and they're burning up their movement points. Very limited interface here, guys. But this is one of the first things we started with. This is an implementation of our A-star pathfinding. Units have stats, they have hit points. You click turn and it actually resets their movement points as well. They can attack each other. As you can see, they just disappear when you do. This was just putting some very basic mechanics in that we needed to construct the battle board. Units, they can move, they can avoid one another, they can find paths around all kinds of obstacles, not just each other. They track their movement points, they have armor classes and hit points. A lot of the basic elements are actually there, it's just completely unpolished. We've got the ability to bring up a spells menu. If memory serves, this doesn't actually do anything. Oh, I was wrong. In this version, it does do something. So there's our early fireball test spell. And this was, it was several steps in, but we're going to call this step 1 for our testing purposes. I'm going to stop right here, and we're going to pick up with another test. So you can, like I said, the idea is to see the evolution of the battle board. Here we've clearly got pieces on the board that can fight. It's nothing like the current battle board, but you can see the roots. You can see we've got a playboard here, and we can move pieces on them. We can cast spells. It's got some of the very basic elements already implemented and just need to be polished and polished and polished. So give me just a moment and I'll be right back. Alright guys, this is kind of the next leg of our tests. As you can see, we've got more than one type of unit on the board. The battle board has actually got some graphic elements to make it look a little bit better. We were making progress step by step, and this was one of the early polishing steps to just get a feel for, okay, what do we want a battle board to look like? There again, the unit's stats are still in a very basic format. We've got all the basic movement and attack we had before, but now we have attack animations, counterattack. These guys are swinging like rusty gates, but there we go, I hit. Alright, and we've added a little bit to our spell menu. We've still got Fireball and can polish those guys off. I should have shown you Cure Light Wounds first. We've got Cure Light Wounds, which cures some light wounds there. We've added the Summon Skeletons spell, which was in a very simple poof type format. But now we've got, those skeletons can actually engage in the combat as well and be counterattacked. They've got little movement points left over. And so as you can see, just between the first test and this one, we added a lot of elements, a lot of polishing. Obviously still had a long way to go, but we were already adding additional spell, ideas. That is, Fireball is direct damage, Cure Light Wounds is obviously a healing spell, and then Summon Skeletons brings other units on to the battlefield. And as rich a spell system as we're going to have, those are three of the very basic elements, doing direct damage, direct healing, and summoning. And even at this early stage, we already have mechanics in place for that. Obviously, the attack animations have been added. There are no death animations yet. This was just another step, and I think that's enough for this particular example. Alright guys, this is the third large iteration of our battle board test. You can see we've touched up the hit point bars a little bit, added a mana bar in the top left-hand corner there. The menu has gotten a little bit of an overhaul. If you look at their stats down there on the bottom right, I said bottom left before, but it's bottom right. You can see that they've been switched to icons. There again, guys, in the game, you're going to be able to switch from icons to the actual numbers. I prefer numbers. A lot of people prefer icons. That's fine. Everybody's got different tastes. The animations look a little bit better. You probably can't tell that because you haven't spent, hundreds of hours staring at them or what have you. But they do look a little better. The spell menu looks a little better. We've added acid arrow here, which just does, acid damage. It doesn't have any cool arrow effect back at this stage like it did later on. Obviously, we've still got a classic fireball. I just love fireball, if y'all were wondering. If we hit turn, watch the guys that got acid arrowed. See, they took a little extra damage. We've obviously got rising damage text at this point, too, to let you know that, they've taken this amount of damage, which I should have highlighted that when I cast fireball. You can see as I'm casting spells that the mana bar is going down. The damage that's been done is going up. That's green. That's because they got healed. Green is good. Green is go. So you can see already a lot of changes. Obviously, we're not limiting it to one spell per turn because in these dev tests that simply doesn't matter at all. But either way, you see the next evolutionary step. So we're going to move. All right, guys, this is our next little evolutionary step. You can see we've kind of changed the health bars again. We've changed the display for the stats down at the bottom. We've also added the ability to use the icons or numbers by this stage, which for me is a big deal. I keep saying I prefer the numbers. I do. We added an exit button to the spell menu, but that's not the big thing about spells. One of the cool things about spells is now we've got to zoom in on cast. And if you like that kind of thing, it's nice to have. I think it's cool to turn on occasionally. To be honest with you, I don't like to take the time. When I'm in strategy mode, I want things to happen. Poof. And of course you can turn off the zoom in on cast and just have things basically happen instantly without waiting on the camera to zoom in. But a lot of people do like the camera zoom in. You'll notice a little bug that was in this stage, and that is the mana bar actually went beyond 0 and started poking out the other side. That has been fixed since, obviously. Alright guys, at the beginning of this explanation, I want to say I looked at the zoom in on cast on that previous video, and it looks very choppy, very fast. I know this is a very early development footage, but I did want to say that no, it didn't look like that. The video capture software just doesn't run at a high enough frame rate to capture some of these effects. And another thing I want to mention is, yes, that is a rooster in the background. You can get a lot of quiet. I live out in the country, which is, I work from my home office a lot of the time, which is where I'm working now. And you can make a lot of things be quiet. You cannot shut a rooster up. There's no way. In any event, the reason I wanted to start with mentioning the zoom in on cast is zoom in on combat. There again, it's going to look very bad for you. It doesn't look that way for me. We did add some nice death animations. Options, options, options. We're all about options. You can turn off the zoom on combat. And now we got no zoom on combat. You'll notice the health bars are off. We can turn it back on. We've also got a ranged unit, which right now just tears skeletons to pieces. Don't try that in the real game, guys. We haven't added damage resistance here. You start trying to crossbow skeletons to death, you can end up in trouble. Perspective mode is perspective mode, and you can actually, take a look at the units close up, see what they're doing. Anyway, guys, the video's gotten to run a little long, and really, I'm just going to cut it here. You get the idea. We started with something very basic, something very simple, where the rudimentary elements were there, and this just kind of built on that and built on that and built on that. And that's what we continue to do. That's what we, just keep on doing. We keep adding more and more and more and more polish. So like I say, you can see the spells have changed a little bit there. I know I'm supposed to be wrapping this up, but either way, the point is that we do keep adding more and more to the polish, and when you reach a certain level of polish, it's very minor things that you can't really make big videos over all the differences because they're such minor things. But that's what happens. We kind of rough things out, like rough carpentry, get a very solid, stable frame. Then we go in and put with drywall, we mud it, we paint it. This is an analogy, guys, obviously. That stuff actually happens with game programming, but I think you get the point. You reach a certain level of polish where it looks a lot like it looks, and the changes are minor and they're tweaks. But this is how these things evolve, and I think this video shows you from a very, very basic level up to something, a little more like what we've got now. You get to see the steps in between. And this video, like I said, is run a little longer than I planned for it to originally. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. This is number 2. Keep in mind, guys, this takes some effort for me to do this. So if you want to encourage me in the comments, that would be great. And if you want to go tell all your friends, hey, come back, Worlds of Magic. These guys just keep doing more and more work. That would be great too. We really appreciate that. And hey, up your pledge by £1. Give us £1 and say, hey, we did this £1 because Aaron did that video. I don't know. It's just an idea, guys. Just an idea. All right. Well, I look forward to talking to you again in the near future.